Got one like. There's Nerd.
Good morning, Nerdy.
There's CCS. There's Amaron. Alright, folks.
Working. Thank you, B.
You just made it real, man.
Yeah. Not worth it. Good morning, everybody. Technical difficulties getting this thing launched this morning. Took us like 8 tries. And we finally got it. So that's why I was a little late. We were here. The key just wasn't fitting in the door. Good morning. Good morning. We just couldn't get the key in the lock. That's all. But we finally figured it out. Good morning. Make sure that you have the backup page. We thought for a minute might have to shoot over to @T_with_B, and it's just the letter B. Okay. Make sure you have that downloaded or subscribing to it, because we were about one more attempt to go live from switching over to that page for today because of technical difficulties. And I haven't sang yet this morning. We need to sing and praise the world. Earth is a wonderful mother. Nature is our guide. Thank you, John Zook. I'm out of line. I'm out of control. Good morning. Good morning. Did you guys sing yet this morning? I hope you do, because we talk about that a lot here, how good it makes our soul and our heart and our spirit. You know what else it makes feel really good? Your ears. Sing in the shower. Let it go. Belt it out there. What's so great about the shower? When your stuff gets hit, let go right then, because it'll be harder later. When your stuff gets hit, let it go. Let it go right then and there. If you hold on to it, it's going to be harder to let go later. Don't take anything personal. Okay, Brian C., you're right. Don't take things personal. Let it go. It is never about you. The only thing that makes it about you is you. Otherwise, it's about something way different than you. And we don't even care to find reason or blame. Good morning. Simply permit the pain to come into your heart and pass through. If you can do that, it will pass. If you are sincerely seeking truth, you'll let go every single time. Truth-seeking missiles. Okay, we're truth-seeking missiles over here. 5280's moving too. What is this, moving season? Jolie's moving, Pops is moving. Oh yeah, everybody's moving. Oh yeah. The purpose of spiritual evolution is to remove the blockages that cause you fear. John Zook's moving too, huh? Are you guys there? Do you hear me? Can you guys still hear me? I just had a little thing come up on my screen. Give me 2 people that can still hear me. Sandy's finally moved. Yeah, a little thing just popped up. It said, your iPhone's not activated or something. And then I just said ignore.
Okay.
Okay.
But everyone's still here?
Oh, yeah, we're all flying high. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're doing great this morning.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Pete.
All right, Pops.
Look at this. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, it's getting real. It's getting real around here. It's getting real, real. It's getting real around here, around here. Good morning. Rodman, you're moving there too, huh? Gosh, if we were a cult, we should buy like a 50-acre plantation somewhere and all move there together if we were a cult. But since we're not, everybody gets their own house. Okay? Good morning. There's many parts of me that I find that idea very attractive. Right? If we were a cult, but we're not. Okay? Well, maybe we are. A certain, how about just if we're a community? That word cult just comes out with such negative connotations. We're not even going to use that one. Joe D's, he's offering us 100 acres for free, you guys. Should we take him up on it? That's a good deal, Joe. Brock posted this morning. Grape Kool-Aid? I like the cherry, nerdy. I like cherry. Okay? I'd like some cherry, please. Okay? Brock found this morning and posted it on the group IG chat. But for those of you that don't have or aren't there, this thing pops down. That would be hilarious. We don't want to put it about me, though. We want to put it about Love World or Kindnessville. Kindnessville. Yeah. Kind Town. Okay. Here we go. St. Thomas Aquinas knows all about hot dogs. The most hilarious thing about this is it's the quote's from St. Thomas Aquinas. Okay? Which, if you know if St. Thomas Aquinas says it, it's true. This guy was a really, really amazing first and second century theologian, an apologist for his faith. Here's something he truly believes. Since hot dogs are basically just pureed meat stuffed inside an animal intestine, a hot dog doesn't stop being a hot dog even after we eat it. We just become the new hot dog casing, and that makes us, in a way, hot dogs as well. Okay? That's brilliant, St. Thomas. Okay? We're basically walking hot dog casings if we've eaten a hot dog recently. You are the new hot dog casing. That is funny. I don't care what you say. Okay, wait for this one. Where's this one? Wait. This one. Here it'll be our morning funny.
I had to go to urgent care here in Nashville. I don't know if y'all been to an urgent care. Go check it out. It's fun. I like it in there. It's better than a real doctor. I think.
Yes, Herbie. Yes, Derek
There's
Henderson.
no ego at an urgent care. That's what's fun. You go to a doctor's office, they talk down to you, right? Diplomas on the wall. They're like, I went to school. I know everything. Urgent care is like, do you have $40? Let's figure this out together. We don't know any more than you. Let's put our heads in a room and let's tackle this sinus infection as a team. And that's fun. You know how you fill out all your info in the lobby on like a clipboard, and then they take you to another room and act like you never did that? So the nurse comes in, we're face to face, she's asking me questions. She goes, what are you in for? I said, my nose is clogged. She said, "You been taking anything?" I said, "Just Sudafed." And she goes, "Oh, can you spell that for me?" I was like, "Sudafed? That maybe could.
Maybe good.
I would like you to take a stab at it, though. Feels like something you should know. I know y'all share a lease with a T-Mobile store, but this feels like day one stuff, honestly. Look, I've been taking ibuprofen as well. So I sounded that one out.
Thank goodness for urgent care. Thank goodness for urgent care. I don't know. We'll figure this one out together. Since you share a storefront with T-Mobile. Okay. That was funny. Good morning. You guys are already cracking me up this morning. Derek Anderson's funny. Herbie, you're funny. So if we're in a hot dog, if we're walking hot dogs and we get in a hot tub, geez, that was a good one, Herbs. That's a good one. What's going on? RX is here. Good morning, RX. He wrote to me the other day, he says, "Pop, I missed you guys, but I'm busy in the morning." He had a job. I'm working at a library, doing a lot of work at a library. And I was like, I'm glad for that, but we definitely miss our guy in the morning. But that doesn't mean you don't want to still work at a library. Okay? Going in the hot dog. I like the other one too, Derek Anderson. So if we eat a chicken tender, does that mean we're chicken tender? Yes. Nerdy, I can't agree with you more. I would love to work at a library. I got fired. No, don't tell us that. Tell us that you found a reason to seek other employment, okay? Good morning, Red Boy. Don't tell him. Okay. Here we go. Let's do a couple of these situations. Okay, let's do just a couple situationals. Where are we at? Oh, thank you, Gaming King. You know what that map is? It's been a while, but before it was like whenever anybody would visit, wherever they were from, they would put their pin on there on the map. You would put your own pin on there and say, "This is me. I visited the Popsies, the Pop House." The map's going with us to our new place, too, by the way. True or false? I'm going to ask you guys a true or false. Turning your phone off. RX, we're moving from this location to somewhere a few miles away. So we're shedding. Shedding, it's kind of like snake skin. You know how and then they molt and we're molting. Speaking of which, wait till later today. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Shedding. And it's such a healthy concept. Okay? It's such a healthy concept. Sandy, don't cry. Okay? We're molting. Tell me if this is true or false. Turning off the phone on your iPhone. No, turning off the sound on your iPhone will help extend the battery life. Makes sense to me. True or false? True or false? False? You guys, false? Who says false? Why wouldn't it? Some of you are saying true. Brett and Jesus are in the the true group. Mytho busto, false people are correct. False people are true. An iPhone actually uses more energy when the sound is turned off. Yeah. When you get a text or a call, if your phone vibrates instead of making a sound, the amount of kinetic energy needed to make your phone move requires far more energy than emitting a sound. That takes more than beep. Beep. Okay. So we know that one now. Okay? Now we found that one out. How about this one? Is this true? Online dating sites. Who's ever used an online dating site? Who's ever used an online dating site? I was forced into it. I was kidnapped and forced into it. I'm not joking. I was forced into it, and I still remember the first one that I went to. I told you guys about. It wasn't, the lady was completely different than the picture. Okay? Well, that's pretty creepy, Mr. 420. Okay? I got forced into it. You know how? My sisters, they were like, you're single. You should mingle. I'm like, no, I'm not mingling. No, you need to mingle. So they took me and pictures, and they set up the page. They even wrote everything. They did it like in one afternoon. Next thing you know, they're, hey, you're on, which one was it on? Plenty of Fish. POF. I was POFing. I was like, I like fishing, so that, okay. I never got anything out of it though. I went on like 3 or 4 coffee dates and never really connected. The first one I have PTSD from. I think she was showing a picture of her daughter. Because when I showed up, I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta be polite. I gotta spend at least 15 minutes here finishing this coffee. And then I'm out, okay? It was bad, okay? Oh, it was so embarrassing too, because I got catfished, but it was her. But she just phony baloney. I mean, she probably put a picture on of her 20 years younger. And she was looking good in the picture. And I saw her in person. I'm like, how did you gain 20 years between our last text and this coffee meeting? How did you get 20 years older? I didn't tell her that. I didn't. But I was kind of upset because it's like, I feel misled. Okay, Shawanda, I felt misled. Okay, no, I'm not even talking about physical, whether she was weighing, I forget body-wise. I just remember, what? Okay, false advertising, Queenie. And that was my first experience. I went home and I blamed my sisters. I go, look what you guys did. And they're laughing. Oh, I've been married 25 years happily. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I'm mingling. Thanks. Why am I talking about this? I'm gonna microdose about that. Okay, I'm microdosing over this one. Now that I'm PTSD remembering it. Myth number 150. Myth number 150. Online dating sites are full of perverts. That's a myth. I mean, I was on there and I was not perverting. I was mingling. There's a big difference. Okay, Melody. I was like, I don't really like this stuff. Can I just go to a library and meet somebody? Recent research into online dating profiles has found that the most common job that a person with an online dating profile has, what's the most common job? What's the most common job that a person with an online dating profile? The answer is not pervert. The answer is not Jesus Christ in Australia. Okay, what is the most? Lynette says it's unemployment because you don't have a job. Okay, Sandy's absolutely correct. Teacher. The teacher. Like they can't meet somebody in the faculty lounge? The most common job that a person with an online dating profile has is a teacher. Also, the research have found that more and more people are using online platforms to find relationships. Interesting. I think we knew that one because we're sure not using the library anymore. Well, RX was trying to use the library. Maybe that's why they had to let him go. RX, what are we doing? Okay, don't tell us anyways. Okay, Four Kings, you guess. Which do you think I am? Four Kings, you asked a question. I'm going to let you guess the answer. Okay? I think it's fair of me to give you the opportunity to guess. And do I really want to do any more? The first animal. I know, Kim, that's a good one. Some of us teachers. The first animal in space was a dog. True or false? First animal in space was a dog. I don't like this one. I don't think a fruit fly is an animal. I don't buy this. It says the first animal in space was a fruit fly. I don't think a fruit fly is an animal. I think it's an insect. I'm not going for this one. The fruit fly. The first animal in space, quote unquote, was a fruit fly. I'm not buying that. Fruit flies were originally sent into space in 1946 to test radioactive exposure. We'll go zap a few fruit flies, okay? This was done to gauge if humans could survive in space. It took another 11 years before Laika, the dog, was sent into space. I'm not buying that one. I think Laika was the first animal. The first insects were fruit flies. Okay? Who knows? Pops are being too literal. Anybody recognize that sound? Anybody recognize this sound? If you recognize it, you know what to do. If you don't recognize it, give me a number between 1 and 50. You can put up to 3 numbers on a line at one time. I'm going to send somebody a pack of supplemental supplements. Okay, whoever gets the answer first. I have a number in my chute, and I'm waiting for the number to pop up on my screen over here. First come, first serve. It's going to be a number between 1 and 25. What do you think it is? Give me a number. Give me 3 numbers, just like Brett Williams just did. Sanam, it's not a 10 today. No. No 10s. Don Fike, infinity doesn't count. Okay, which is it? I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for you to guess it correctly. Nurse with the 25. Nurse, way to slam it home, fruit fly. Good job, fruit fly. Nurse, send me your address so I can send you a pack of supplementary supplemental supplements. Okay? I'm still waiting for yesterday's winner to send me an address. Can yesterday's winner do that? And don't hesitate. Don't say, oh, I won last month. If you should send me your address. Okay? Yesterday, we were talking about Soul Quest. I don't remember that. Sanum, would you send it again? I don't remember it. So please send that to me again. I actually don't remember that. And if I didn't send you a tracking, then something went wrong. If I sent you a tracking, then you know that I had received it. Okay? Brian C., you were not the first on my screen, so I apologize to you. Our screens and lag times come out a little bit different. The first person on my screen that I saw was Nurs. Okay? Thank you, Brian. Thanks for understanding. Okay. Thank you, guys. So yesterday we were talking about Soul Quest, the ayahuasca church by the fellow by the name of Chris Young. And we were already booing and hissing, if you remember correctly. At least I am. So is the author of this article. However, let's continue on with this story, okay? Like Ayahuasca International, Soul Quest was very big on advertising. A billboard on the highway next to the center exclaimed, "Turn right now. Experience the healing power of nature." If you search for ayahuasca in the US on Google, Soul Quest would be the first result. The organization appeared as Ayahuasca USA on Google Maps, and it had the @ayahuasca handle on Instagram. The center appealed heavily toward psychedelic novices who could not afford to travel to more traditional long-running sites in the Amazon, and who could generally not discern the shoddy quality of Soul Quest ayahuasca ceremonies as they lacked a frame of reference. In many ways, Soul Quest brought ayahuasca to the US, Sophie says. No one was doing it above ground before Soul Quest. Although Westerners have been traveling for decades to consume ayahuasca in the Amazon, where indigenous communities have been drinking it for centuries, you could argue that Young exists in a canon of pioneers who introduced new philosophies, substances, and practices to the U.S. soil for the first time. That being the case, I would think the responsibility is super huge. If I think you ask us, if you're the first, can you imagine those incredible responsibilities you have to the moral and ethical obligations? History hasn't always been kind to pioneering figures. Yogi Bhajan, who popularized Kundalini Yoga in California in the 1970s, was later exposed as a predator, while allegations of running an abuse-ridden child sex cult have trashed the legacy of the once celebrated Tantra teacher Osho Rajneesh. Whether or not Young warrants a place in this pantheon, only tomorrow knows. Wait. There are certainly those whose experience with Soul Quest, the Soul Quest boss, have been laced with more than their fair share of suffering. Get prepared for this story. We briefly covered this last year as a small article. Brandon Begley was the blonde-haired, blue-eyed epitome of a Florida kid when he discovered SoulQuest. The 22-year-old was working as a pizza delivery driver and a golf caddy, and he loved to skate and play guitar. Yet he yearned for spiritual meaning. Brandon had gone vegan and switched to fluoride-free toothpaste and chemical-free deodorants, and he would make t-shirts adorned with symbols of love. He became very aware of substances that he would put in his body, his father, John Begley, tells me. There is a tragic irony to this, since SoulQuest sacraments were instrumental in Brandon's grisly death on Easter weekend, 2018. There's Brandon. Brandon's pop. 2 days after arriving, 2 days after arriving at SoulQuest on March 30th, Brandon underwent 3 grueling ayahuasca ceremonies. 2 days after, he undergoes 3 ceremonies, as well as a ritual involving Cambo, which is an Amazonian frog poison that possesses detoxifying effects. For the latter, he paid SoulQuest an extra $150 on top of the $500 program fee. Some Cambo practitioners recommend people drink copious amounts of water before taking the non-psychoactive secretion, while SoulQuest manual set the upper limit at 5 liters, which is a huge quantity. Though it's unclear just how much water Brandon drank, there were concerns it had been too much. That afternoon, Young told Brandon to stay at the center overnight so that he could be supervised. But after staff found him unresponsive at 5 p.m., they alerted Young, the only person at SoulQuest with any medical training, and he was allegedly urged to call an ambulance. Later in court, Young insisted that he thought Brandon's issue had been spiritual rather than medical in nature. So the staff carried him outside, where the neo-shaman who had been leading the retreat with Young used Reiki therapy to ground the stricken youngster, believing that he could solve the problem by removing esoteric energy from Brandon's head while praying and singing. Why don't you just call an ambulance? Brandon suffered convulsions that were so intense they caused skin to tear from his arm and face as his body writhed across the ground. He was left bloodied and bruised. Eventually, a blanket was placed on the ground so that he wouldn't be in direct contact with the earth. There you go. Well, we'll just put a blanket down for him to roll around on. The neo-shaman instructed staff to prepare a sugar tea, but after Brandon was given a few drops, he had a prolonged seizure that proved deadly. Only then, at 8 p.m., was an ambulance called. After Young and staff had watched Brandon deteriorate to severe hyponatremia, a condition brought on when the body's sodium levels become critically low due to water overconsumption. The recording of the 911 call is distressing to listen to. Quote, "We want to take him to the hospital, but right now, it might be best if you guys come here instead of us taking him. Young is saying on the 911 call. He's unresponsive. We thought he was a sugar diabetic. So we gave him some sugar water and he's turning blue. Oh my goodness, he's turning blue. Later, Young rang J.P. Bagley, the young boy's father. He called me. You have to go to your Brandon, and he's been taken away in an ambulance, the father recalls. When the panicked father asked which hospital, Young replied, I don't know. How could he not even know what hospital he's being taken to? JP immediately set off in a car 3 hours from Orlando on a mad hunt to find his son, a father's worst nightmare. I was calling every hospital in Orlando, trying to find a blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy named Brandon Carl Bagley. Young sent me on a wild goose chase, said the father. None of the hospitals had recorded an admission under that name. At some point during his fevered search, JP discovered that the paramedics hadn't even been told Brandon's name, leading staff to register him as a John Doe. Eventually, a doctor at one hospital was able to match JP's description of Brandon to the prone body. The doctor's like, yeah, this is more than likely your son here, but we have him registered as a John Doe. You need to get here now. But there was nothing the doctors could do. Brandon died 3 days later from the acute effects of hyponatremia, namely anoxic brain injury. JP, the father, a mild-mannered country singer and professional golfer, vividly recalls the horror of that night as we sit together in the Palm Beach office of his pro bono personal injury lawyer, William Chapman. Looking back, I'm just thankful that I was even able to recover Brandon, he says, wiping away tears. He said he could have disappeared. Young did not pause activities in the days or weeks after Brandon's death. Instead, he slashed prices, offering a 20% discount promotion for retreats that month on his Facebook as the ceremony schedule continued apace. On a trip to Arizona to promote a self-made documentary about Soul Quest, titled From Shock to Awe, Young made claims that Brandon had taken drugs, a witness told me, which were later debunked by the autopsy. Young also kept a photo on his Facebook profile of a group shot in which Brandon was. You gotta be kidding me. I'm gonna keep this on. He posted this photo one day before Brandon fell ill. When JP went to pick up Brandon's car, accompanied by the police, he claims Young treated him with contempt and did not even offer a cursory condolence. Big time shaman. Naturally, JP, who works at the Mar-a-Lago golf course owned by Donald Trump, with whom he is on a first-name basis, was distraught and sought justice for his eldest child. After the local sheriff decided not to pursue a criminal investigation, JP knocked on doors of countless no-win, no-fee lawyers until he met Chapman, a former college baseball player who agreed to take on the case against the advice of his own partner. It's a loser. We're not making any money. Chapman went on to bankroll the legal effort to the tune of over $100,000 in administration and expert witness fees. This lawyer, just when you think they're all rats, he's got, I got you, JP. And I'll put my money behind this. We'll figure this out. The warmth and deep respect between Chapman and JP is palpable, forged over several hundred hours together, preparing a case that Chapman says has been the most consequential and the most important case of his 23-year career. In May 2024, following a bitterly fought case, a court ruled Young was liable for negligence in the wrongful death of Brandon Bagley. Young and SoulQuest were ordered to pay $15 million in compensation, and Young attempted to declare bankruptcy, but he was turned down due to the illegal nature of serving ayahuasca. The acrimonious battle for the money, which JP says will be used for charitable good, continues. In the aftermath, do you guys want me to go on? There's more. There's more. That was the Brandon part of it. Should I go on? Are you guys as incensed as I am? And it isn't just for the purpose of being incensed together. This is the reason that we're sharing all of this together, is to know that they are out there, the wolves and the profiteers. And we'll bring them down when we know about it. And we'll shout it out to the highest mountain and to the lowest stream. In the aftermath of Brandon's death, Young seemed to return to the party boy decadence of his pre-ayahuasca years. He attended EDM shows in Las Vegas, and he holidayed in Ibiza with his new Ecuadorian girlfriend. January 2019 saw the arrival of the Malacca at SoulQuest, an Amazonian-style longhouse used to host psychedelic ceremonies that was erected on the same turf where Brandon had suffered his convulsions. We're just going to build a log house over the top of that. It allowed SoulQuest to grow significantly, and the ceremonies, sometimes led by indigenous ayahuasca facilitators, were regularly attended by up to 100 people. It seems Brandon had been all but forgotten, with his death sort of under a code of omerta. In my 3 years there, from after Brandon died in 2018 to 2021, I never even heard about it, says Fallow. She's one of the facilitators there. That's how good a hush-hush job they did. It's only because of the Reddit forums that I actually learned some inconvenient truths. When questioned about Brandon's passing, Young, who's been presented by filmmakers and experts as a bona fide medicine man, he was quick to deflect blame. The popular Netflix documentary series, Unwell, which aired in August 2020, featured SoulQuest prominently in part of its ayahuasca episode. We understand you want healing, but you can't lie to us, Young told the show, alluding to Brandon's death. If you lie, you die, he added crasslessly. Everyone here knew that there was nothing we did wrong. We found out shortly after that he had a history of seizures. This misleading claim, which was not scrutinized by the show's producers, was based on the presence of an anti-seizure medication called levetiracetam levetiracetam, which was in Brandon's body at the autopsy. Yet during the depositions prior to the court case, the judge ruled that Brandon was only described this for the first time while he was in the hospital for those 3 days that he was dying. That's where he got the anti-seizure medicine that later we say, oh, the reason he's got a history of seizures. There's no competent evidence of a prior medical condition or prior medication that Brandon failed to disclose, wrote Circuit Judge Eric Netcher in his partial summary judgment. Soulquest and Young's defense failed to create a genuine dispute of material fact. And as such, the documentary and the publicity it stirred up only deepened the Bagley's family torment. 2 years later, in May 2024, Young, whose claim to have been an EMT had long since been debunked, he cut a curious figure in court. Observers say he was often slouching, eating sweets, and chit-chatting. His defense lawyer, forced to change his argument away from the seizure history claim, instead focused on Brandon's water consumption while advancing a spurious and highly personal case that JP had abandoned Brandon as a young boy when he moved to Florida to pursue his golfing career. It's Dad's fault. Remember when he was going to be a golfer? He also argued that a previous bad trip on mushrooms proved Brandon was unfit to take psychedelics. Well, then why were you giving them to him? In courtroom scenes, they were at times chaotic. One figure from Soulquest allegedly tried to solicit the judge's law clerk to attend one of the organization's ceremonies, while JP was inundated with deranged texts from other individuals offering him ayahuasca. Here, Pops, why don't you try some? So he could meet his, quote unquote, so he could meet his son once again. But Wallfallow says the couple hundred ceremonies he was involved in, it's a he, not a she, involved in passed off without medical emergencies. It was not only Brandon who was seriously harmed at Soulquest. In 2017, Canadian Kevin Rupchand said that he had a seizure after following staff instructions to drink several gallons of water in the wake of consuming katawa, a poisonous tree bark. This case was settled out of court for $100,000. Shockingly, another woman was hospitalized after having a seizure on camera in 2019 while Netflix was at the Soulquest filming an ayahuasca ceremony. And when the DEA rejected Soulquest's application for religious exemption, it highlighted a separate September 2020 report of a woman whose experience went south. Soulquest staff members delayed calling 911, the agency said in a letter. The woman also alleged that hospital emergency room personnel had told her that Soulquest staff members had repeatedly dropped off customers experiencing adverse reactions at the emergency room. Just ship them on over. Oh, well, that one didn't go good. Ship them on over to drop them off at the emergency room as a John Doe. Perhaps this wasn't altogether surprising. In court, Young admitted that some facilitators had undergone no formal training and were instead required to complete a year of volunteer service. Oh, so you want to be a facilitator at Soul Quest? You have to volunteer for a year. Cleaning the buckets, cleaning the white buckets and stuff. Now, as soon as you've done that, you're qualified to be a facilitator. Some of these volunteers were in recovery from drug addiction, and they were giving their time principally in return for free ayahuasca. There were those who relapsed, only adding to the scrambled atmosphere in the place. In November 2023, a male volunteer from Soul Quest died by suicide. The circumstances remain unclear, and they may bear no relation to his experiences at the church. Either way, the public image of Young as a credible medicine man was falling apart. There's a part 3 to this. I'll pick it up tomorrow. Give me 5 people that are interested in part 3. Are we freaking out yet? Are we booing and hissing in this situation? There's a part 3. Okay? It's pretty sickening. I agree, HB. But I don't think that I think these are things that we need to discuss. I think that these are things that we do need to discuss. And make sure that we're so above this. Make sure that any single one of us individuals are so above this that could never be called to this kind of an account. We need to be impeccable. We need to tell the truth. Let's do our final reading for today. In moving, it's been funny. It's been funny. I run across a few things, like I remember there's something that I had ordered off of Amazon about 3 years ago. Man, I couldn't wait for it to get here. I'm at the door. Amazon, man, I'll help you get it out of your car. I needed this to get here as fast as I possibly could get here, right? As fast as we could get it. I needed it so bad. I haven't looked at it in 3 years. I forgot I had it. There's about 800 more things in my basement that I haven't looked at in 3 years. I forgot I had them. But somehow I really, really needed it. Bill, it's not still in the box. As a matter of fact, that was a mistake. I should have kept the box. But somehow I really need this stuff super bad until you have it. Isn't that interesting? And as I'm moving now, we're using the old 2-year rule. If I haven't seen it or touched it in less than 2 years, I have to give it away or garage sale it, donate it, do something. And we're really downsizing, okay? Some people call that shedding. In the animal nature world, animals don't hold on to stuff. They don't keep stuff in a cave for 2 years that they don't need. The gift of shedding. The gift of shedding. From the beginning, the key to renewal has been the casting off of old skin. It is very interesting that the earliest people believed in something that we, in our modern hive of manufacturing, have forgotten. And it's that immortality is attainable by shedding. The Dusans of North Borneo have believed for centuries that when God finished creating the world, he announced that whoever is able to cast off his skin shall not die. But what does this mean? Not that we can live forever, but that the way to stay closest to the pulse of life, the way to stay in the presence of that divine reality which informs everything, is to be willing to change. Still, change what? To change whatever is to change whatever has ceased to function within us. Be willing to change anything that has ceased to function in you. To shed off whatever we are carrying that is no longer alive. To cast off our dead skin, because dead skin can't feel. Dead eyes can't see. Dead ears, they can't hear. And without feeling, there is no chance of wholeness. And wholeness remains our best chance to survive the pain of breaking. Of course, for human beings, dead skin takes on many forms. The most insignificant of which remains intangible but suffocating, such as a dead way of thinking, a dead way of seeing, a dead way of relating, a dead way of believing, a dead way of experiencing. In essence, shedding opens us up to self-transformation. Paradoxically, those who refuse such renewal will sooner or later be forced to undergo the transformation anyways, as a result of being either broken or eroded by the world. Very often both occur at the same time. That is, we shed from it within while being eroded from without. For sure, living is not easy. And living openly is both wonderful and dangerous. The fact is that shedding, no matter how useful or inevitable, always has a pain of its own. Unfortunately, there's no escaping the underside of growth. So it's not surprising that there are many feelings peculiar to humans that prevent us from shedding: work, fear, pride, nostalgia, a comfort in the familiar. Often we give up our right to renewal to accommodate the anxiety of those around us. And so, when we cease to shed what's dead in us in order to soothe the fear of others, we remain partial. When we cease to surface our most sensitive skin simply to avoid conflict with others, we remove ourselves from what is true. When we maintain ways we've already discarded just to placate the ignorance of those we love, we lose access to what is eternal. Often we give up the right to renewal, to accommodate the anxiety of those around us. It's good readings for today. Shedding, that's what we're doing as we move. We're shedding material things. As we work together here, you see a lot of shedding. Changing old, get rid of those patterns that didn't work. It's clear they weren't working. Shed those. Shed those. HP, you're right. It's that chambered nautilus. Move into the next chamber. Makes me very thoughtful. Extremely thoughtful. In the backdrop of making sure that we take care of each other. We're not here to pirate, profiteer, take advantage. We're not here to make ourselves have more. We're not here so I can have a bigger party and spend more money on myself in Vegas. That's not why we're here. Those are old creepy stories. The new skin, it just wants to be kind. You guys have a wonderful day. And thank you too for being here. We'll continue that story. We'll finish up with Chris Young tomorrow. I know it's negative. There's a lot of pain in this story, but there's a lot for us to learn and gain from. And certainly use negative people as positive examples. I like to do that. NERS, nothing changes if nothing changes. Michael Patterson, I need you. You good man. Four Leaf and Derek Anderson and HB and Jesus Christ and Mike Buddy Ball and Art Kelly, nice to see you. Four Leaf and Nippy and Art Kelly and Nerdy and Mike Buddy Ball and Kimberly, Lynette sending love, Billy T and HB and Justin Robinson, Mr. 420 and Derek Anderson, Clean Grow, Four Leafy, Billy T, Cat Meowzilla, Mike Buddy Ball, Jolie, let's keep shedding, my channel, Don Fikey, Jesus Christ, Nippy, have a beautiful day. 7 years old tomorrow. If you remind me tomorrow, please, I'll sing her a birthday song. Let's get Abe over here for a birthday song. We'll get Pop Croons in the house. Herbie and Saul and J.W. Owen and Jesus Christ and Melody Dawn, have a great day. Zoso, LSD, haven't seen him in a minute. Jesus Christ and Nerdy and RX1s, nice to see you. Derek Anderson, HB, Justin, Mush Hunter, I can't forget you. Mr. 420, Mike Butterball, Sanum, Trenty, Jesse is not a bot. Classic, good, have a great day. Cleany, Nippy, that's good. Wizzy, was, my channel. Jesus Christ and Melody and Ico Khan. John Zook, Mike Butterball, HB. 4 things we want to remember on a daily basis. It's simple. All we have to do is remember and practice being impeccable, especially with our word. The things that we say want to be nothing but goodness and kindness coming out of us. That's it. If I'm going to say anything else, I'm not saying it. It's not coming out. I'm also not going to take anything personal. I'm not that big of a deal. I'm also going to work on not having any expectations. My expectations turn into resentments. So it's best to not have any. And then fourthly, do our best. What do we do, HB? Always do your freaking best. Pops, love, out.